So find a comfortable seat or go to your back, whatever feels more supportive for you this morning. And if you choose to, you could just close your eyes down and kind of ponder this a little bit. Why standing postures are such a big part of yoga. And we the obvious probably answer is, well, we're building physiologically, we're building strength, we're building coordination, we're working on flexibility and balance, and we're practicing. If we are paying attention, which hopefully we are in our classes, we're building this balance of effort and ease. So we talk about that a lot in yoga, the effort and the ease together. Too much effort and we tighten up, and we don't have the ability to add more, kind of. And too much ease or not enough effort, we're kind of floppy. So we're really balancing that all the time. And in standing postures where we work everything all together, we're working legs, we're working hips, we're working feet and ankles, we're working arms, it becomes really evident how much we need that. And then just having this awareness of where you fall along those lines, effort and ease. So I know where I fall. Way too much effort a lot of the time and not enough ease. So looking at our own self and seeing how it is for us in our bodies. Yeah. And then the other piece, of course, to the sort of more metaphysical piece to standing postures is this ability to connect. So we connect to the earth, we connect through the feet, and we really want that firm foundation to be able to expand and rise. So today about grounding and having that really established, and then Saturday we'll explore a little bit more of the expansion of the upper body. So this ability to observe ourselves is the bridge that we all cross. This is the bridge we all cross for greater awareness and more transformation. Essentially, that's possible. We know it doesn't always happen, but it's possible. So if you would, you could stay seated if you want, but otherwise go to your back and really allow yourself just to let go of everything. And then in whatever position you are, bring your attention to the inner landscape of your body. The sensations, the vibration, the pulsation, that what we call in yoga the felt sense. Bring your attention to that. What does your body want right now? What form does your body want to take? What would be sort of an aesthetically pleasing or fulfilling shape or movement in your body right now? So Carl Jung said, that the symbols of life arise in the depths of the body. The symbols of life arise in the depths of the body. So as we practice today, can you acknowledge the physical longings? I'll cue you, of course, and guide you, but there's only so much that I can give you. You have to follow that felt sense in your own body. Let the physical longings, let those cues really motivate how you move, how you shape your body as we practice. Okay, so on your back, take a few deep breaths. And then we'll begin with our the soles of our feet on the floor. If you think about what we'll need to get loose or warm for standing postures, we'll just begin with some leg extensions. So you can keep one foot on the floor and then bring your other knee into your chest. And on your next inhale, simply straighten that leg out, pointing your toes. And then on your exhale, draw the knee to the side of the chest and just continue that little pattern. So you're flexing and extending through the ankle, the knee, and the hip. And just take this at a speed that just feels like supportive to you as you wake up leg number one. Doesn't matter if you extend and point or you extend and flex. Do the opposite when you bring your knee into your chest. And then take the opposite leg. And maybe this leg feels a little different. More space, less space, tighter in the hip, tighter in the ankle, looser in the ankle. But bring your attention to all the little places that, are moving, articulating here. Great, and then you can take the sole of that foot to the floor. And with your feet as wide as the edge of your mat or wider, let your knees move back and forth in the windshield wiper motion, feeling into your pelvis. So obviously the pelvis, the position of the pelvis and the space available in the moving the pelvis will be important to standing postures. Again, just work at a speed that feels supportive to you, opening up. And then coming back to center, you can keep both soles of the feet on the floor. You could stretch one leg long here if that feels okay in your back. Bring the other knee into your chest. And with your same hand, just make some circles through your hip, taking your hand on your knee and circling in one direction. And the opposite direction. And then coming back to center, just take both hands underneath behind your knee and let your foot be floppy and take some circles with your foot in one direction, opposite direction. And then point and flex at the ankle. Spread the toes. pull the sole of your foot in and turn the sole of your foot out. So inversion and eversion. So the little baby in the house who's a month old on, I think the other day, it was just a month old, her feet can come all the way together on the inversion. It's so cute. And they're just so flexible when they're little, right? We just get all this, life history in our bones and our joints. Okay, other knee into the chest and just circle through there, that hip. Make sure you take this in both directions for approximately equal time. And then you can bring your knee into your chest and again, interlace your hands underneath the knee and work this other foot, so at the ankle. So circling the foot around, opening through the ankle. And same thing here, you'll turn the sole of your foot towards the midline of your body, that's inversion, and then turn the sole of your foot away, eversion. So working the ankle joint a little bit differently. Ankles and feet, so important to standing postures. And then you can set that sole of that foot down on the floor. And let's take, if you don't have the soles of your feet down on the floor, take the soles of your feet to the floor now with your legs parallel to one another. And let's just visit the pelvic tilt, because a lot of the cues for standing postures involve the position of the pelvis, okay? So on your inhale, tilt the pelvis away from, so you're reaching the pubic bone away from the navel, creating space underneath your back. And on your exhale, tilt pubic bone back towards navel, draw those two towards one another, and then continue that little pattern. We do this a lot, and this is super important to know how this area affects how we stand, right? And we all tend to have a little tendency to go one direction or the other. So we're aiming for being able to find neutrality in the pelvis. So on the inhale, lengthen the space between pubic bone and navel, between navel and sternum. And on the exhale, bring the pubic bone towards the navel, draw the navel towards the spine, and draw your tailbone into your body a little stronger. Okay, so those are a few different cues than you've heard from me before. So if you can, stick with those or really pay attention to those cues. On the exhale, draw your pubic bone back towards your navel, draw your navel in towards your spine, and get this sense of bringing the tailbone into the body. Not tucking necessarily, but bringing it into the body and stretching the skin on the buttocks. A few more rounds here. Okay, and then standing postures also require that the core is engaged. So you could take we'll just say hello to the core real quickly. Take a block between your upper and inner thighs and squeeze the block, lower legs parallel to one another and to the floor. Interlace your hands behind your head. Good, and then inhale on the floor and exhale. Draw the head and shoulders off the floor, draw the pubic bone towards the navel, navel towards the spine. Okay, and then just a few crunchies here. So inhale takes you back down, exhale, lift and squeeze the block between your legs. And just move back and forth, a few yogi sit-ups or yogi crunchies. If you wanted to add a twist, you could. Just to get the sense of the core engaging. If you wanted it to be, if you notice that your tendency is to be make it as easy as possible, maybe take the legs a little further away and make a little more effort. Just noticing our own tendencies in our practices and trying to find that even balance. Good. Now you could take the block and set it aside and take your legs long on the mat now. And separate your legs pretty wide so that you have room to go into internal and external rotation. So you'll turn your both feet to the left. Right leg goes into internal rotation and left leg goes into external rotation. And then inhale back through center, turn both feet to the right. Left leg goes into internal rotation and right leg goes into external rotation. So even though we could go pretty fast here, just want you to be really paying attention to the internal and external rotation of your thighs. So both feet going in one direction, one leg will be in internal rotation, and the other leg will be in external rotation. And then you could sit up and just prop yourself up, put your hands behind your back, and again, legs long and in a pretty big V, and then turn both legs in, so both the feet are pointing towards one another, internal rotation, and then turn both feet away and have a look at your legs, external rotation, and just get that sense of internal and external rotation. Great. And then from here, we'll just sit up, take the legs over to the side, come to table, knees underneath the hips and hands a little forward, and just run through a few cat-cows here, just opening through the spine. So on your inhale, draw the chest forward, and you could even tuck the toes under and lengthen the space between sternum, navel, and pubic bone. And then on the exhale, round your back towards the sky, press your hands into the floor. Just a few rounds through here. Okay. The next time you come into cow, so that would be the inhale, right? You've got the curve in the back. Soften that curve just slightly. Turn your toes under. See if you can get all 10 toes under. Lifting and take your hands forward slightly, maybe a hand length. And then with that neutral spine, maybe a teeny bit of forward tilt in the pelvis. Lift your knees off the mat. Lift your hips towards the ceiling, press back with your hands, and come into downward facing dog. Now you can intention your heels towards the floor, stretching the calf muscles. And then begin to just move yourself forward as if you were going to go to plank. Drop the knees back to the floor. Reach the hands even further. Set your hips back. Keep your head up. Keep your arms off the mat. Set your hips back towards your heels as if you were going to child's pose. Now lengthen through the arms. Draw the shoulder blades onto your back firmly. Broaden across your upper back. And then finally bring your hips all the way back to your heels so your hands will move with you. And then you can rest your forehead onto the floor, child's pose. And then inhale, come back up into cow. Soften that arch just slightly. Turn your toes under. Lift your knees off the floor. Press yourself back. Downward facing dog. Great. Now, you can inhale the right leg up and sweep it forward between your hands, coming into a lunge. Great. And then here, you'll turn your back foot. Turn your back foot as if you were going to come up into warrior two. Walk your hands around in front of your body. So your hands are in downward facing dog, your arms, and your legs remain in the lunge. Okay? And draw the upper inner thighs back. Make sure that the back leg, you've got the heel down. And then walk your hands back around to the front foot. Turn the back foot, so you're up on the toes, and heel toe the front foot out of the way to the side. Okay, so you're back in a lunge. And you have options here. You can take the back knee down and stay right here on your hands. You might take the outside arm down to the floor. You might be able to take both forearms down. Or if you have a block here, you could sort of go halfway. This is a nice option, right? Forearms on the block and front leg to the outside. So we're opening through that hip. And then wherever you are, hands back to the mat, curl the back toes, lift the back knee, and reach the front leg back to the back leg in downward facing dog. Now inhale the opposite leg up and sweep that forward between your hands. Turn your back foot. So you're in the lunge, and you bring your hands out at about 45 degrees. So you're in downward facing dog arms, and the legs are in the lunge. Kind of a warrior two setup with the legs. Trying to keep the back heel, the back leg, keep that heel down. And then draw your hips back. See if you can draw the hips back. Press the hips back. Great. Walk your hands back to the front foot as you turn the back foot. Come up under the back toes and heel toe the front foot all the way to the edge of your mat. Now you might be up on your arms, on your hands rather, or you might take the outside forearm down. You might be able to take both forearms down, or you could take both forearms to a block. So choose what feels the best in your body. What allows you to have that effort and ease combo, balance. And then wherever you are, come back to the hands, right? And if you had your back leg down, lift the back leg, release the front leg back, and come back into downward facing dog.
Slowly walk your feet to your hands. Take your hands to your hips. Draw your elbows in towards one another. Press into your feet and hinge up at the waist. Good. So let's come into the Tadasana for a minute. So just a standing Tadasana. And feel underneath your legs. So feel your feet. That's what's underneath your legs. Feel for balance forward and backward. So you might rock to the balls of the feet, rock to the heels. Feel that. And then feeling for whether you have a forward tilt, excessive forward tilt, so that would be an arch in your back, or you have a sort of excessive posterior tilt, so that tends to be hips pushed forward, thighs pushed forward. Find the neutral position. Find neutral. Good. And then from here, we'll inhale, sweep the arms up, come up onto our toes. Exhale, drop the arms, drop the heels. Inhale to sweep up, and exhale to lower the heels. So beginning to work balance. As you move back and forth, feel the weight across the whole metatarsal arch. If you fall out, that's okay, you fall out. And then this time, we'll just sweep the arms up, but we won't come up onto our toes. So find a balanced standing point and inhale, sweep your arms up. Palms facing one another. Now notice if when you did that, you did a kind of an arching situation and your lower ribs flared out. That tends to be my tendency. So with your arms up, can you draw the navel up in towards your spine and knit? We call it knitting the ribs. So feel some contraction around the rib cage. And then you could try here, draw the shoulder blades down slightly, and then try maybe to press your hands together. Press the hands together. And release. Great. Now we're going to go right into tree pose, Vrksasana. So we've done this a few times in the last couple months with a block. If you'd like to use the block, you could use the block. What I think that encourages is the really grounding of the standing leg hip. Otherwise, take your weight into one foot and bring the other leg up. So we talk a lot about externally rotating the lifted leg. So as you do that and you place your foot in place, notice if your hips get offset. Oftentimes the bent leg, right, that hip will be a little bit higher, and we want to get the hips even. So with your hands on your hips, you can try bringing that bent leg forward a bit and see if that allows for an evenness, more of an evenness in your pelvis. Standing leg, draw that leg, squeeze that leg onto the bone and draw that hip in tight. Pull that hip in tight. So hands to waist to begin. Your feet are working here. And then release. Great. Then we'll try the easy side now. So weight into the opposite foot. You can bend at the knee and grab the other foot and bring it into place. Notice if the hips get offset here, and if so, just swing that bent leg forward a bit and see if you can drop that hip to level with the other one. Squeeze muscle to bone. Draw the standing leg buttock in, so that hip squeezes in towards midline. Squeezes in towards midline, and then the foot and the leg are pressing into one another. Pressing into one another. Hands on the hips to start. Good. And we can release there. And just quickly reviewing why the block is such a unique way to do this, because when I take my foot up to the block and I stand up, it really emphasizes the squeezing of the hip into midline. And we've done a bunch of these where we hovered the foot, right? And you could try the same thing with the block. Finding level hips. Sometimes you have to bring the bent leg forward a bit to find the level hips. Great. All right, so that's just something to emphasize that, and you could do that later on your own if you want. Okay, now, first side, okay? First side, bend through the knees, bring the foot into the leg, squeeze the standing leg, draw the outer hip in, and if you need wall space like I just did, you can take that. And then maybe you have to bring this leg. We're not too worried about the external rotation right now. I want you to think about your hips being level. Great. Inhale and reach the arms up. Notice if you've got an excessive arching in your back. Draw your pubic bone towards your navel. Draw your navel towards your spine and pull your tailbone into your body. So with palms facing one another, maybe the hands can go together. Think them out of your frame, but see if you can take your hands together. And then hands to the heart center and release. We'll try the easy side now. It's the easy side because it's the other side, right? Good, so pressing your foot into the floor. Feel all 5 toes spread out, and then we'll come opposite foot up. You might have to bring the knee forward to get the hips level. Press standing leg into bent leg into standing leg. Inhale to reach the arms up. Draw the pubic bone towards the navel. Draw the navel back towards the spine and draw the tailbone into the body. Reaching, palms facing one another, maybe palms together. If you feel tightness in your neck, you need to probably separate and bring the shoulder blades down the back a bit, and then hands together. Pressing foot into leg and leg into foot and release. Great. Now you can come to your mat. If you came off the mat, and we're going to take a nice wide stance. Bring the arms out wide so the wrists are over the ankles. Okay, nice wide stance, and we're going to Trikonasana, triangle. So turn left foot out and right foot in. Hands to the hips. Now look at your front foot, and this leg wants to externally rotate so that the kneecap is lined up with the ankle. Okay? Hinge forward towards the front leg and take your front hand either to your thigh or to your shin or to your ankle. Leave your back hand on your hip for right now. Great. So wherever it feels, this combination or this balance of effort and ease. Bend the back leg and press through the outer heel of the back leg and then re-extend. Press into the big toe mound of the front foot and encourage the external rotation of the front leg. Draw your pubic bone towards your navel in towards your spine, and your tailbone into your body. Right here is where we stay. And then to come out, you could bend the front leg and come up. Take your feet back to parallel and then turn right foot out, left heel in. Straightening through the front leg and hinging forward, front hand to the thigh or to the shin or to the ankle. And this side might be different, friends. Bend your back knee, press into the outer heel, then re-straighten. Top hand on the hip. You could take a look down at the front leg. Is your knee tracking over your ankle? External rotation of the front leg. So we draw that hip underneath the body, pressing into the big toe of the front leg. Now draw your pubic bone towards your navel towards your spine, and your tailbone into your body slightly. It's almost like you're stretching the skin on your butt, okay? And then bending through the front leg, come on up. Turn both feet. We're gonna go back to the first side. Good. Now, sometimes playing with standing postures, there's this other fun thing to do. If you tend to have a shorter stance in your standing postures, sometimes that's an indication that you favor stability. So you can play with opening up your stance a bit, just taking a little risk there. All right, so we turn the back foot at about, it's just slightly, the heel is slightly out. I'm gonna bend that back leg, press through the outer heel, re-straighten. Front leg is straight, and I could even take my hands and encourage that external rotation. And then reaching the side ribs towards the front leg, hand to my shin, to my thigh, maybe down to the ankle. I'm somewhere in the middle here. Draw the pubic bone towards the navel back towards the spine, tailbone into the body. Great. Now from here, you could stack the top arm. Feel like you're almost like you're squeezing your legs together. You're really feeling the strength of your legs, squeezing muscle onto bone as you hold this triangle posture with both ease and effort. Bend through the front leg, come on up, and we'll switch sides. Great. Now, you might need a little bend in your front leg to get the back foot set. Bend the back knee and press the back heel into the floor. So your whole heel is pressing down on the floor. And then re-straighten the back leg. Straighten the front leg. Bring the side ribs forward. Hand to the shin, the ankle, or the thigh. Draw the pubic bone towards the navel. Draw the navel back towards the spine. And the tailbone into the body. Now you could stay here with the top hand, or you can come into more of a traditional Trikonasana with the top arm stacked over the bottom arm. Do what feels comfortable for your neck, looking straight ahead or looking up to the top hand or looking down at your front foot. Notice if you've taken the weight of the front foot to the outside of the foot, press big toe mound into the floor and externally rotate front leg. Bending through the front knee, come on up, turn both toes, both feet to face parallel to one another. Good, and I'm just gonna turn sideways to you now for this. So with the feet parallel to one another, and I'll get into the frame a little differently, take a forward bend. Notice if your hips go behind your feet, and here, get the weight onto the balls of your feet a little bit more. So your hips are stacked over your heels. And I think you could probably see that if you needed to pop up and have a look. Good. And then interlace your hands at your sacrum and pull the arms off the back and let gravity, strong legs here, let gravity kind of pull your arms off your back, engaging muscle to bone on the legs. Great, and then bring your hands to your hips, draw your elbows towards one another, and hinge up. Okay, good. And now we'll go to Parsvottanasana, extended side angle. So come back to this wide stance, and then turn the left foot forward, turn the right heel out, bending through the front leg, noticing the front knee if it's stacked over the front ankle. Good, and the depth of that front leg is up to you. Bring your left elbow, forearm to the knee. Keep the back hand on the hip. Now bring the hips back. So the inner thighs sort of spiral back. Good, like we did when we were in the lunge downward dog. Draw pubic bone to navel. Draw navel back towards the spine. And draw the tailbone into the body. Top arm now comes up and over, if you have room. Shoulder blades onto the back slightly so you have room in your neck. Feel a long line of energy from the back leg all the way through the side of the body. I'll just do this for now since I don't have room. Through the length, whatever the length of your arm is. Keep pressing your forearm into your thigh to keep that shoulder from squeezing up into your ear. And then top hand back to the hip and press yourself up. Good, we'll take the other direction. Right foot points forward, lift the back heel, turn it slightly out. You could try the same thing here, bending this back leg, making sure your heel is completely engaged with the floor, and then straighten that leg. Bending into your front leg. Take the front forearm, right forearm now, onto the front leg. You can keep your back hand right here. Take the thighs back. Thighs go back. Now bring navel bring pubic bone towards navel rather. Bring navel back towards the spine and draw the tailbone into the body. Now extend through the top arm. So we have a long line of energy from the back heel all the way through the side waist, all the way through the side waist, and out through the fingertips. Press into the front foot and come up. Turn both feet to be parallel to one another. Inhale, lengthen. You could take your hand on your head for a minute and just press down on your head and resist back with your head. And feel that little bit of length that you got. Now, keep that length as you fold. And once again, can you feel for if you've tipped, if your hips are back, keep yourself a little more forward on the balls of your feet. Now here would be a nice place if you had a block, just to set your forehead on the block. Some of us could probably get our head all the way down to the floor. So in a tiny inversion here, just for a few breaths. And then we'll take our hands to the hips, draw the elbows towards one another, shoulder blades onto the back. Inhale and come up. Good. Step to the top of your mat. Inhale, reach your arms up, and exhale, fold. Inhale, Ardha Uttanasana, halfway lift. Hands could be on the floor or on your shins, or you could bend your knees. It doesn't matter if the legs are straight. We're getting length in the back, and then exhale, fold. Take your hands to the mat, step your feet back, downward facing dog. Now, as you begin to rock forward and round your back, tent your fingers, so we'll go left hand, and inhale the left leg up and back, bending the knee and bringing that foot forward. Turn the back foot out, 45 degrees, and inhale, come up into warrior one. Great, so front leg is bent, back leg is straight. You could do the same thing here to get the feet set. Bend through the back leg, press the outer heel down, re-straighten. Great, so your hips, are gonna be, they're probably not gonna be turned completely to the front of the mat, but can you turn your upper body towards the front edge of your mat? Yeah. There we go. Inhale, reach the arms up. Draw the shoulder blades down and in slightly. Draw your pubic bone towards your navel back towards the spine, and bring the tailbone into the body slightly. Maybe you can press your hands together. Maybe you could even take the hands behind and gaze up at the hands in a little back bend. Maybe what works for your body is just to have the arms open. Good. Now, bring your hands to your hips. Take a half step and reach your body. Lean your body forward. And then just lift the back leg as you straighten the front leg. On your next inhale, you'll sweep the back leg up and forward. Exhale to feel the grounding. Draw the standing leg, hip in. Inhale, reach arms up. Soft reach. Exhale, twist. Inhale back to center, and both feet to the floor. Take an exhale. Inhale to halfway lift. Exhale to fold. Take your hands to the floor. Step back to the downward facing dog. So we'll take the other side now. So as you inhale and bring the other leg up, you can tent the same fingers. It kind of gives you some space. As you bend the knee, you can bring that foot forward. Turn the back foot out at 45 degrees and come on up. Now we're at the opposite leg is forward and we're in the warrior one. Good. Bending the back leg, firmly press down through the outer heel and then re-straighten. Inhale. Arms come up. Good. Right here, we're going to check all that same stuff at the pelvis, right? So draw the pubic bone towards the navel. Draw the navel back towards the spine, and draw the tailbone, not tucking the tailbone, but sort of into the body. So there's an engagement through the core. Great. Now, reaching the arms up, shoulder blades on the back, space in your neck. Maybe the hands come together here.
Maybe they're separated, maybe they're together, and maybe you're actually looking up at the hands. The depth of the front leg is up to you. Revisiting the cues in the pelvis and the abdominal area on your own. Feeling for that. Good. And then we bring the hands sort of to the hips. You're going to take one step. Going to move one step forward. And then the front leg is bent. So as you stand up and squeeze that hip in, you can lift the back leg. Those two things happen simultaneously. You can keep your hands at your hips here. You can bring the hands to the heart center or forward if you have the space, out to the side. What might feel like good integration for you? Delight in your body. Then we'll inhale and sweep the back leg up. Find your balance. And here again, if the bent leg is hiked up, can you press a little harder into the standing leg and get your hips level? Inhale the arms up and exhale into a twist. And then come back to center. Set the front leg down. Inhale the legs up, the arms up. And exhale, fold through center. Inhale to halfway lift. You could have the knees bent. So here in this halfway lift, can you get a little bit of arch in the back? So we have a little bit of a back bend, and then when you have that, take the fold again, Uttanasana. And from your Uttanasana now, separate the feet, heel toe the feet apart, drop into a squat. So legs pressing into arms, arms pressing back against the legs, hands to the heart center. You could sit right down onto your bottom if you want to here, or stay in this position. So keeping the back body nice and long if we can. And then we'll come to the floor and do a hip balance. So that might look just like this, feet off the floor. Could look like this with the legs parallel to one another, lower legs parallel to the floor and to one another, hands behind the thighs. Could look like this with the arms spread out. Draw the navel in. Draw the back body towards the front body. Maybe the legs come out long here for you. And then we'll slowly, 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 slowly lower to the floor. Now stretching through everything. Arms could be alongside you or above your head, reaching through your feet. We'll take a figure 4. So bending one knee and setting opposite ankle on that knee. Bringing your knees towards your chest and maybe taking your hand through the space. Feel the work in your hips from standing. You know, we sort of outsource, don't we? We outsource a lot of our work to chairs and cars. And if you've ever shopped in the Costco or Target, like the amount of people that like lean on their carts as they move along. So we outsource a lot of our strength work to something else. And if there's
if there's something you can do for your whole life to maintain some strength and stability, it's just standing on your legs. Standing on your legs. And of course, we've added quite a few other things to that. But maybe when we're 100, right? We're just standing on our legs. Switch this up. So opposite ankle now on the opposite knee. And when you pull your knees into your chest here, if you find yourself really rounded up, can you relax your hips back down? That's going to really give you a deeper stretch in the outer hip. And then from here, anything else you need, happy baby, some sort of twist, okay? But start to move yourself down towards Shavasana. Taking whatever you need. And feeling again the support of the floor and the additional information that you get from the floor when your whole body is on the floor. So again, in this comfortable position on the floor, what is the inner landscape of your body? How is it now? Does it feel any different? What is the form that your body wants to take? Some of you might have your knees into your chest, or you might have a little movement, subtle movement going on. Acknowledge the physical longings in your body and let yourself be motivated by this. You know, our bodies are our first place of wisdom, and maybe, you know, our strongest place of wisdom. Let yourself be guided by and motivated by the physical sensations and longings of your body. And a few deep breaths just to let everything settle and go. The symbols of the self arise in the depths of the body. The symbols of the self arise in the depths of the body. Don't let any of it scare you. It's all part of the wonderful you. So remain in Shavasana if that's what you need today. And if you decide to come back up to your seat, you could slowly do that. Placing your hands at your heart center in a gesture of gratitude. Giving yourself an internal namaste. You never have to get out of Shavasana. That is the beauty of online teaching. Just stay there if you want. But acknowledging the effort
that you bring to your practices. And then gratitude for the other people in your life who make this possible, or perhaps your circumstances. May the merit of our practice encourage all beings to unveil the hidden brilliance that lies within us all. It's our divine right, our divine self. Namaste.